Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Do you like my new setting? Isn't this cute? I'm really excited. You guys are getting to see it for the first time. This is my new little miniature podcasting studio. Yeah, you guys remember we built the pantry, right? And on the other side of the pantry was going to be my little tiny office space. And that's essentially what I've created here so that I can have a place to do my podcast, Life with Tina. And I've got my cute little sign here. I shared some stuff over on Instagram and gave you guys a sneak peek of this, but Joe helped me with this sign and it's super cute. It's got like a little remote control. Watch, ready? It says Life with Tina. That's the name of my podcast. In case you didn't know, I do have a podcast. I've had one for a couple years. A few years, but I haven't done anything with it since probably right after Kellen moved in with us. Life just got busy. I was homeschooling both the boys and I just had to put it on the back burner, but I'm ready and I'm excited to start up the podcast again. And this time my podcast is going to be on YouTube. So I'm actually going to be sitting here with you guys and you'll be able to actually see me instead of just hearing me, which I think is really cool. So I needed a space that was somewhat put together and not just absolutely crazy disorganized. So I'm a very organized person. You know what I mean? Things have to be clean and neat. Same thing when I'm cooking in the kitchen. I can't cook in a dirty kitchen. That's just how I am. But I wanted to pop on and chat with you guys today a little bit and give you a health update for me and then also a health update for Joe. This is just a little bit of a chatty video. Got my glass of water here. I already had coffee today. So if you like chatty videos and you like hanging out with me, grab your favorite drink and let's just chill out for a little bit and hang out. So many of you have been asking how everything is going with my health journey. You guys know that I was recently diagnosed with Lyme disease. I have an active Lyme infection. So my immune system has been fighting that apparently for about 4 years, but I didn't know it. You guys, if you missed that video, I'll link my Lyme journey playlist. I created one to put all these videos in there because I think that it can really help someone because I didn't know that for 4 years what I was experiencing and the symptoms I was having was because I was infected by a tick and I have Lyme disease. I did not know that. I went to several doctors. You guys know I was misdiagnosed multiple times, had labs done, procedures like an endoscopy twice where they go into your stomach with the camera, all the things, and never got answers to anything until I went to a functional naturalistic doctor who helped me get to the root of my problem. So you guys check out the playlist. It's all there. I won't repeat all that, but the bottom line is I have Lyme disease and it's kind of been wreaking havoc in my body. So lots of symptoms. And because of that, it caused me to do some other testing and I found out that I was gluten intolerant, which at first I was devastated. In fact, when I got all of these results a couple months back, you guys might remember my diagnosis video that I shared with you. I cried tears in that video. I was quite devastated about everything that had unfolded so quickly and all these results that came in at the same time. I was happy to have answers, but I was devastated just hearing everything and trying to wrap my mind around where to go from here. And part of that was being gluten intolerant. You guys know I bake my own bread. I have a grain mill. I like to grind my own flour. Like I'm just, that to me is kind of like the essence of like homesteading and like you baking your own sourdough bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you really a homesteader if you're not baking your own sourdough bread? Well, apparently I am. I'm a gluten-free homesteader now because I was significantly gluten intolerant. And that caused Joe and I to do some research and we decided to go on a very strict carnivore diet. I've shared with you guys many times that we did keto several times, which is essentially low carb to no carb, depending on your keto journey, but meat and veg, maybe some fruits like berries and things. We did that a couple times, but we decided to go straight carnivore, which is meat only. We were eating fish, beef, some chicken, not a lot of chicken, just because we needed the fat from the red meat to maintain the macros, protein, fat, and we weren't doing any carbs, obviously, because it was carnivore. But the red meat was really important to us to get that fat that we needed. And we were drinking water with electrolytes. We did continue drinking coffee. I drink about 2 cups of coffee a day, 1 in the morning, and then 1 like late afternoon, usually after Parker and I get done with homeschool. So we did continue coffee. And then we also continue dairy products, mostly raw dairy, being that we have the goats now, and I milk my goats every day, and I make milk kefir, some cheeses, yogurt, and of course we drink the raw milk, and it's delicious. So meat, water, some coffee, and raw dairy. That's all we ate for 30 days. And a lot of you have been asking for an update, just to give a quick update on what our thoughts were on that and how it went. And I thought I would share that with you guys today and just, let you know how I'm doing with my health journey. I'm doing a very strong medicinal herb natural regimen to treat my Lyme disease. And I'll be on these herbs for an entire year. And then we'll be retesting for my Lyme to see where we're at. I'm currently I have an active infection. So it's not dormant. It's not inactive, like it's an active infection, which means my immune system is fighting this every day. These little spiral bacterias that are in my body, which in of itself is causing a lot of symptoms, fatigue, and all the things that come with like an autoimmune issue, because that's what Lyme disease is. It's an autoimmune disease. Your body is attacking it, and it really makes you feel not so great. I did want to give you guys a quick update on Joe. So you guys know the backstory. We lived in Virginia for 8 years. We were stationed there with the Coast Guard, and that is where I was bitten and infected by a tick and got Lyme disease. In addition, I have 3 other co-infections that the tick also carried. So I'm not just fighting the Lyme, I'm fighting 3 or 4. I can't even remember. I'm infected with so much stuff. But these little bugs, man, they messing around. They got me good. And like I shared before, everyone in our family was bitten by ticks in Virginia. Parker, Lexi, and Joe. And I think that Joe got it the worst. I told you guys, we went out walking our acreage. We had 18 acres in Virginia at one point, and we came back. Joe had tried to make this homemade tick repellent, and I'm like, dude, just do the DEET. You know what I'm saying? Just do the DEET. But he did this homemade recipe. I can't blame him, right? Because we don't want all the chemicals and stuff from like off in those traditional bug sprays. But he came back literally covered in ticks. So bad that he had to go in the shower with the kitchen sponge and like scrub them off of his skin. That's how many ticks he had on them. So he was definitely bitten. And being that I came back positive for Lyme, we decided to get Joe tested as well, because he has also experienced a lot of symptoms. And it's kind of funny because you guys would probably be like, oh, Joe, no way. He looks like he's got so much energy and he's so strong, because you guys see him working on the channel and on all of our videos and building things and lifting and doing firewood and all the things. But let me tell you guys, you don't see what goes on when the camera's off. And Joe, for years, probably 5 or 6 years, has been struggling significantly with fatigue. Just tired, low energy. There's days where he's just like, babe, I don't feel like doing anything. And it's just like he's struggling with energy. And the other thing that he struggled with for several years, in fact, before he got out of the Coast Guard, they had him in physical therapy, and then he was getting steroid injections for his arms and his shoulders. He's been having muscle pain, severe issues with his muscles that just started out of nowhere 4 or 5 years ago. He can hardly do a pull-up now without hurting for several days afterwards. He's got a lot of muscle fatigue in his arms, and that's been a really big struggle for him. The other thing he's experienced is skin issues. He has been developing random rashes and just itchy skin in certain parts of his body, like his arms, his legs, his inner thighs. And the Coast Guard doctors were prescribing him steroid creams and all the things that, of course, never helped with any of it and didn't relieve the itching. He just started having skin issues. And recently, just in the last year, he developed a rash on both of his shins on his legs. I'll pop in a picture here. And just a disclaimer, so I don't get comments, Joe is fully aware that I'm making this video today. He's given me full permission to share this with you guys. So he said it's okay. Okay. All right. Don't come for me in the comments. I get people that are like, oh my gosh, you put your husband's info out there. Y'all, this is mine and Joe's YouTube channel. Okay. It used to be my channel, but somehow it's evolved into like this family channel, and it is most definitely not just mine anymore. You know, I do all of the technical stuff behind the scenes. I edit the videos, but Joe is very much a part of our channel and is fully on board and okay with me sharing the things that I share on our channel. So now that we got that out of the way, this picture is the rash that Joe has developed on his legs, both of them, and it itches insanely. So we decided to get him tested, and it came back positive for Lyme disease, but Joe's Lyme is in an inactive dormant status, which typically means that the immune system has been able to take care of it for the most part. But the crazy thing about Lyme bacteria is it has the ability to hide, and it creates a biofilm around it so that it's not detectable. And sometimes antibiotics aren't even effective against it because of that. And so what they say about Lyme is once you have Lyme, you'll always have Lyme. You're always going to have, you always have the antibodies for Lyme, of course. And his is showing to be in an inactive state. So the Lyme bacteria, the Lyme disease may not be what's causing Joe's symptoms, but he tested positive for Rocky Mountain spotted fever as an active infection. So you guys might have heard of Rocky Mountain spotted fever. It's another tick-borne illness. So he was infected by a tick, most likely in Virginia, and has had it for 4 to 5 to 6 years since all of these symptoms started. Back from when we can remember, he was bitten by all those ticks on our farm in Virginia. So Rocky Mountain spotted fever typically is pretty dangerous, and it's you know, you have kind of like Lyme, you have this acute infection where you have to go to the ER and you have to get antibiotics right away. People have died from Rocky Mountain spotted fever. And then you have people that, like Joe, was bitten and infected, and apparently it seems that his immune system somewhat has been able to keep it under control while he's still been experiencing these symptoms, which are probably autoimmune symptoms from his body, his immune system trying to fight the bacteria. But he is positive for an active infection of Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So what we're doing now with our naturalistic doctor is we have, you guys know my primary care doctor would not accept the lab results from our naturalistic doctor. He required me to go get all my labs done again through LabCorp. So she, our naturalistic doctor, went ahead and ordered LabCorp tests for Joe as well, so that if those are positive too, he can take that into our primary care doctor and say, hey, I need antibiotics. I need to be treated. I've got Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Most likely this doctor, he's going to require the test to be done again. In a sense, I get that. Like, they don't want to treat someone if it's not a test that they've ordered. But at the same time, this is LabCorp. This is the same laboratory that you use. So why do you need it redone when this is recent? Like, within the last couple of weeks, he had his blood drawn and this came back positive. So it's interesting, and we're going to cross those bridges when we get to them. If he can get the antibiotics to treat it, we will. If not, then we will just do the herbal route that I'm doing, the strong medicinal herbs to treat the Lyme. Joe will do the same thing for the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So it makes me kind of sad, you guys, because, you know, Joe is my Superman. He's my hero. He's my rock, and he can do anything, and he's strong and smart and just powerful. And to see him struggling physically, it makes me sad. It really does. Something he's been having a really big problem with for probably 6 months is neck pain, neck stiffness, which is probably from the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. And he wakes every morning in pain and puts a hot rice sock on his neck and is really struggling with neck pain lately. And it's hard, right? We're out here chopping firewood, hauling firewood, building things, all the physical work that goes into our homestead here, living off-grid in Alaska. It's hard. It's definitely putting a little damper in things. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, Because I have tested positive and Joe has tested positive for tick-borne illnesses, we are also getting Parker tested. In fact, his lab kit just came in the mail yesterday, so Parker will be getting his blood drawn. We'll be sending that off as well. And he's also going to be getting a hair sample test, something I haven't talked about on the channel. And really, all these things, you guys, we chalk these symptoms, like we chalk them up to, like, we make excuses for them, right? We justify them. Oh, Joe's muscles are tired because he works so hard. Oh, Tina's so fatigued. I'm just so tired because of homeschool and I run a YouTube channel and, you know, I'm just going. Like all the symptoms that we have, we're always like trying to justify why we feel like that. When the reality is it's not normal to feel the way that we're feeling at 42 and 43 years old. It's not normal for me to be this tired. It's not normal for me to have the joint pain that I was having. And it's definitely not normal for Joe to be feeling the way he's feeling and having all these rashes all over his body. So the thing with Parker at the farm in Virginia, in fact, I vividly remember when this started because I talked to my brother about it. Parker has, I don't know what else to call them other than like ticks, not the bug tick, but like ticks, you know what I'm saying? Like twitches and stuff. Granted, a lot of children have this and they kind of grow out of it. So it may not be anything, but it could be Lyme. It could be Lyme disease. Parker could have also been infected with one of these tick-borne illnesses, and we won't know until we get him tested. It started with his eyes. I even took him to the eye doctor in Virginia, and they prescribed my little 4-year-old, 5-year-old son eyeglasses, which he probably didn't even need, but you know how that goes. And he would just be sitting there watching TV or something, and he would just twitching. Sometimes to the point, you guys, where I thought, is he having like a seizure? Because he would just do these like involuntary motions for like a hot minute. And it has evolved into different things. He used to do this thing with his throat. Now it's his shoulder. He'll just be doing like this, like really bad, doing like his neck, his eyes, like these really crazy tics that he has. And there's been times like we're out in public and I'll just touch his shoulder and I'm like, hey, Parker, because he'll be doing it for a minute. And it's like, it will look like he's having a seizure. If you didn't know, you would think he's having a seizure. And he's not. He is very aware of it. And he'll go, oh, sorry, mama. And he'll kind of catch himself, you know. So muscle spasms are a symptom of tick-borne illnesses, whether it's Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I mean, there's just so many illnesses that these little bugs carry. But the other thing we're getting him tested for that could potentially be the cause of this is heavy metal toxicity from vaccines that he received as a baby and as a young child before he went into elementary school. Vaccines, that's like a whole nother video as far as my opinion on those. But I'll just say that I'm not the young, naive mother that I once was at 19 years old when I had Lexi. You know, if you came in a doctor jacket and you had MD in front of your name, I believed everything you told me and I did everything you told me to do without question. That's not the case so much anymore, right? Because the world's gone crazy and people just can't be trusted. And there's a lot of issues that are coming from all of the... So it's a very big possibility that Parker could have some issues from all the vaccines that he did receive as a baby. So we're going to get him tested and we're going to see what happens. And then we will work out a regimen for him on detoxing his body if that's the case, or helping him fight an infection if that's what he has from any of the ticks in Virginia. But then we're going to try and get Lexi tested. It's like, if there's nothing else I can convey to you guys from this video, tick-borne illnesses are on the rise, and the CDC estimates that 300,000 to 400,000 people a year are infected by ticks, and really we think that number is way higher because there's a lot of people that have these infections that are being misdiagnosed with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, acid reflux, all these issues, when really it's stemming from an infection that the body's fighting. So if I could just encourage you maybe to get tested. If you're someone that's experiencing a ton of symptoms like this, it doesn't cost a lot. I personally would recommend going to a holistic, naturalistic doctor to get tested because they use laboratories that are more technologically advanced and that dig a little bit deeper. You guys know my LabCorp results from my primary care doctor came back negative for Lyme, but positive for antibodies, which showed I had an infection at some point, but my body overcame it, which is what he tried to tell me. When my holistic doctor's results came back active with an active Lyme infection, which matches the symptoms I've been experiencing for 3 or 4 years. So there's some discrepancies with testing, and it's really convoluted, so I won't go into it here, but I would recommend you just do some research on that and maybe find a naturalistic, holistic doctor that can do some testing for you. You pay out of pocket. It's not going to be covered by your insurance, but I would highly recommend it. These infections are on the rise, and the ticks are in every state in our country and all over the world. So a lot of people think that there's no ticks in Alaska. That's not true. There are ticks here. And in fact, I just took the goats in for a checkup the other day, and they had pamphlets on ticks, and they're asking if anybody finds ticks here in Alaska to send them into Fish and Game so they can be sent off for testing. Ticks are in every state in our country. And they're coming up here on people's pets that are moving here. They're coming up here on migratory birds. So there's really no safe place. You don't have to live in Virginia or the East Coast or in the South to get bit by an infected tick. It's just spreading like wildfire. And unfortunately, it's wreaking havoc in people's lives. And me and Joe have been teasing the last month or so that we've uncovered all this. And we're like, we'll just be limey together, right? Because I cried at first, like y'all saw me cry about this, but now I've had time to digest it, do some research, get on my herbs, get on this regimen. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, it is what it is. So attitude and mental, your mental state plays a big part in recovery for any kind of illness. So I'm just trying to be positive going forward with this. Like I have it. I can't unhave it. I can't get unbitten. Like it is what it is. So what can I do to minimize my symptoms, if not get rid of them completely and start feeling 100% again, right? So that's where I'm at. And Joe and I just laugh. You know, for some reason, I can't say Rocky Mountain spotted fever too many times without messing it up. I end up saying spotty mountain fever. It's become a running joke in the house. So Joe will be like, oh man, I have a headache today. And I'm like, oh, it's your spotty mountain. Like we're making jokes about it because like, if we don't laugh, we might cry. You know what I mean? So if you don't get anything else out of it, know that it is very likely for most people that this is causing their issues. And, you know, along with that, you know, you've got mold, you have heavy metals. I mean, there's so many things, so many toxins, you guys, that we are ingesting every day that we don't even know and we don't even realize. And we're just going through life like sick and not feeling good when you're not supposed to feel like that. There's something there. There's something causing you to not feel good. And you have to find somebody that's willing to work and willing to hustle and dig and get to the root cause of your symptoms, not just treating the symptoms with some pharmaceutical. That's just not the answer. They just try to throw pills at me so many times and tell me that I'm crazy, tell me I have anxiety, depression, want to put me on these pills. And I had somebody that was like, oh, you're labeling everybody that's got anxiety as crazy. No, that's not what I'm saying. Karen, calm down. I wasn't talking to you specifically. And then I had someone get mad at me because I used the term Karen. It's like, look, people, I can't help you. If you take everything someone says personally and you take ownership of something that is not you or has nothing to do with you, then I can't help you with that. It's just a figure of speech. Like, lighten up. It's going to be okay. I'll keep you guys posted on Joe and what we end up doing with that. And then also as soon as Parker's test results come back, but it's going to be a few weeks or so before we know the rest of that. So I am on my 2 herbal supplements that my naturalistic doctor has me on. I'm on day 43 of one of them, and I'm on day 3 of the other one. And these strong medicinal herbs have been shown through studies only with rats or mice, I can't remember which one, but that even where antibiotics were not effective at killing the Lyme bacteria, these medicinal herbs were effective. So it's interesting with these herbs, just like any kind of detox that you do, you're going to go through something called herx, which is like a die-off symptoms, right? So when your body's detoxing and ridding itself of all of these toxins and whatever it is you're detoxing from, your body can experience symptoms that make you feel sicker. So you might feel worse before you get better. You guys know I'm doing these liquid herbals and they're droppers, right? So I have 2 ounces of water twice a day and I'm dropping these drops in there. I'm up to 40, but it's going to end up being 160 drops total a day because I do it in the morning and at night for a year straight to kill this Lyme bacteria. And the first few days that I started taking this, I didn't know if it was like keto flu symptoms because I had started carnivore. And what kind of sucks is I did everything all at once. I started carnivore diet, cut out gluten 100% from my diet like the beginning of June. And then I went on these strong medicinal herbs to try and kill the Lyme bacteria. So I didn't ease my way into this. I just hit it from all angles and was like, pow, and just did it all at once. Let me just tell you guys something. You know, I have been experiencing anxiety and panic attacks for several years now, which we now know is neurological symptoms from the Lyme disease. But I've been doing better with that since I got on the carnivore and all the things. But about a week into the herbal medicine, I woke up at 1 a.m. in bed and it started with like sharp pains in my big toes, like stabbing pains in my big toes. And that's what woke me up. And then all of a sudden my feet started tingling. My legs were having like radiated tingling sensations going up to my thighs. My hands were going numb. The left side of my head was tingling. And at this point I sat up in bed because I started almost feeling like a panic attack was coming on. I was getting scared. I felt my heart racing. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. Because that's how my panic attacks would start. I would get numbing of the limbs, tingling. My heart would start racing. I couldn't catch my breath. I sat up in bed and within 10 minutes of this starting, I went into a full-blown episode and I woke Joe up. I was freezing cold. I was shaking uncontrollably. My lips were chattering. My teeth were chattering. My jaw was tight. At one point, I almost bit my tongue because I was chattering so hard and my jaw felt so tight. I was trying to loosen it up. I felt my whole body was tightening. My heart was racing. I could hear my heart in my ears. And Joe's sitting there just rubbing my back. He's like, you're all right, babe. You're all right, babe. Because I know with these panic attacks, nothing really helps except for time. I use my lavender essential oil, breathe in deeply, doing my breathing, right? But nothing really makes it go away except time. It just has to do its thing and then it slows down and it resolves after 30 minutes or so. I've had them last almost an hour before, but this time it was different. The extreme shaking, like uncontrollable shaking. I was breathing hard. I couldn't catch my breath. And Joe's like, let's go for a walk at 1 a.m. Like Joe's used to doing this with me. He went and got my robe because I was freezing and he was going to take me outside to go on a walk because sometimes getting my mind off of it helps me get through them faster. So I put on the robe. I'm in my room and I'm trying to walk out of the room as I'm like shaking and can't breathe and freaking out. And all of a sudden I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom right now. And I run to the bathroom and I know this is TMI, but that's what you get with Tina. Tina TMI. Y'all, I look like Dumb and Dumber on the toilet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Remember that Dumb and Dumber scene? He's like, yes, okay? I was sitting there and Joe's outside the bathroom door and he's like, are you good? And I'm like, yes, please just don't leave me. Just stay there. I was scared to be alone. Explosion, right? And literally after that, everything started calming. It was the weirdest thing. My breathing slowed down. I felt my heart slowed down to a normal rate again. My trembling stopped. I wasn't freezing anymore. I come out of the bathroom and Joe's like ready to go on the walk down the driveway. And I'm like, I don't think I need to do that. I just want to go lay down. I got super tired. Like I just ran a 10-mile marathon. I was so tired. Like couldn't hardly keep my eyes open. I believe because of the research that I've done that I was experiencing HERCS, which is die-off symptoms. When the herbs attack the bacteria and they start to die off, they don't like it. They give off these microtoxins in your body and they cause die-off symptoms. And how does your body get rid of things? Through your bowels, right? And so I really believe that the herbs are working. I think that it's working, and I think that my body was reacting to die-off. And now I'm on to the second herb. I just started my second herb that I take in conjunction with that first one, which, by the way, that leveled out. I was up to 40 drops a day. That was the only bad experience I had in the very beginning. And then after that, I just kind of leveled out. Like, they weren't affecting me. I was feeling good. I had energy. And then I started the second herb just 3 or 4 days ago. And I have not been feeling so great the last couple of days. Not like that night, but just fatigued, muscle pain, neck stiffness, almost how you feel like when you get the flu or something, just body aches, totally run down, felt like I've been run over by a truck. And I think that it's my body adjusting to the second herb that I just started a few days ago. So that's where I'm at with those herbs. I am going to continue through, and I'm going to push through, because I can't get antibiotics from the doctor because my LabCorp test comes back negative for Lyme and only shows that I had a previous infection, not an active infection, so they will not treat me. So my only option is the strong medicinal herbs, but they have been proven through studies to be effective. And you guys know me, I would rather go natural anyway. So we're going to keep on going. And that's where I'm at with the Lyme treatment. So I just wanted to touch really quickly on carnivore and just share with you guys some of the benefits that I experienced. I did do carnivore for a straight 30 days. And now what I'm doing is meat, some fruits. I'm using raw honey in my coffee. I quit using stevia and I'm using raw honey, which is quite yummy. I'm doing raw dairy and some dairy products. And then I'm also doing some vegetables. So that's where I'm at with my diet. But one thing that I will never go back to is processed foods and seed oils, because, you know, we thought we were doing good, right? We thought we were healthy. We're raising our own meat and we're doing this and that, but we would still go out to eat. Y'all know that. And there's so many things on the menu that you don't know what the stuff is being cooked in unless you ask. And seed oils are proving to be really inflammatory and bad for people. So when we go out to eat now, I'm the weird girl that's like, hi, do you have a gluten-free menu? Or what do you guys cook your Brussels sprouts in? What kind of oils? If it's canola, seed oil, anything like that, I don't want it. Like if it's not cooked in beef tallow or butter, I don't eat it. So I keep it really simple when we go out to eat. And if that means I just get beef, and eat a carnivore dinner that night, then that's what I do. So knowing what I know now, I just can't go back to what I was. And I've come so far that I don't want to undo all of the improvement that I've seen physically in my body. So I'll go through these really quickly. One thing that I've noticed improvement on big time is insomnia. I was not sleeping good. I was up all night long. I would have nights where I was just staring at the clock, couldn't fall asleep, tossing and turning. And then I'm up peeing all night, right? And then you're just up all night long. I had horrible insomnia for the longest time. And now I'm sleeping all night, other than peeing. I still get up and pee several times, but that's because I've increased my water. I drink a ton of water, and but I'm sleeping much better. No bloating. You guys, when I was eating, I was looking like I was 4 months pregnant. There was times I'd go in the bathroom and I would pull my pants down and look in the mirror, and I'm just like, I could pass for a 4-month pregnant lady right now. I was so bloated. Every time I ate, it didn't matter what I ate. I was extremely bloated. I don't have bloating anymore. I have more energy. I'm not as fatigued as I was. I'm ready to go. Like I just told Joe the other day, I said, Joe, I feel good today. I feel energetic. I'm not hurting. I want to go do something. I'm happy. I'm mentally, emotionally, I'm happy. And that's what happens when you physically feel good, you guys. Like physical pain and ailments, it takes a mental and emotional toll on you, and it affects every aspect of your life. So I have a lot more energy, and I'm not as fatigued as I was before. And that's even with the coming off of strict carnivore and adding the fruits and honey and things back into my diet, I still feel really good. The other thing, a lot of you have been saying, like, you're glowing, your skin is beautiful. My skin is doing real good. Like, it's moisturized looking. You know, you guys know I use nothing but tallow balm from Tubes & Co. Organics. I love my tallow balm, straight beef fat, moisturizing like the ancestors did, rubbing all up in it. And it really does moisturize. But I also do see a difference in my skin. And the other thing is my nails. My nails are growing like crazy, and they're strong. They used to tear and rip, and now I'm having to cut them constantly. I keep them short because I milk my goat, but my nails are growing like crazy, and I like it a lot. I have really noticed my anxiety and my panic attack symptoms. I knock on wood, fake China wood. I almost don't want to say it out loud, because the scariest symptom that I've had in all of this was my panic attacks. It was completely involuntary, and it was scary every time it happened, and there was nothing I could do, and no one could give me answers, and no one could make it stop. And they would just come on whenever they wanted, usually in the middle of the night for some weird reason. And I'm afraid to say that I feel like I'm doing much better with that anxiety and the panic attacks, because I don't want to like jinx myself. But in the last 2.5 months or so, since I first shared my diagnosis with you guys, I've had 2 episodes. One was the night that I just told you guys about, which may have been from the herbs, my body reacting to that and adjusting to that. And then I had another one, and I've been keeping a journal of all this so I can kind of track my symptoms and my progress. But I was feeling so jittery before all of this, before I cut out the gluten, before I got on carnivore, before I started the herbs. My heart would race all the time for no reason at all. I would feel like adrenaline-y, like, I've said that to you guys before, I know it's not a word, but just like all of your nerve endings are just like on the fritz, you know what I mean? Just like panicky. My heart would just, I could hear it in my ear, and I could feel it in my throat. Like, the weirdest thing, I don't have that anymore. I'm calm. I lay down in bed at night, you guys. Like, I could actually just cry talking about that, because that's really scary. And for those of you, you guys, so many of you have emailed me and messaged me, and a lot of you are struggling with the same thing, and it's scary. And I want you to know that I hear you, and I validate you, and I believe you. I don't think you're faking it. I think that these things are real. And I also think that there's a reason for them. So that has gone almost completely away from me, and I hope that it just continues to get better as time goes on. The other thing is joint pain. You guys, my lower back, my hips, my knees, my ankles, sometimes my wrists, and then my neck, right? I would have joint pain sometimes where I couldn't just walk down the stairs coming out of the cabin. I would have to hold the railing and kind of walk sideways and take it one step at a time, because my knees would ache so bad. I'm 42. Granted, I ran a lot in the military. I was a runner. I would run like 5 miles a day, and that's hard on your knees and your back. But the joint pain is almost completely gone. Like, that's a huge thing for me, because I've been suffering with joint pain for several years now. The other thing, which this is kind of crazy, but this is 100% gone away for me since I started all this, is phlegm in my throat. You guys, we would joke, me and Joe, me and Lexi, she would always be like, Mom, are you starting your engine? Because in the mornings, I'm like, y'all know what I'm talking about. I sound like a horse up in here, like getting that engine started. Like, what is that, right? Or you're in the middle of talking and your voice just goes out because of the phlegm, and you got to clear your throat. It was constant, and it was getting worse. That is gone. That is completely gone. And I didn't even realize it until I'm sitting on the couch with Joe one day, and I cleared my throat, and I was just like, and I was like, Joe, I was like, I don't clear my throat anymore. Like, I have no phlegm in my throat. And a lot of people chalk that up to dairy. And I know that there's some people that are lactose intolerant that have issues with dairy. I've never had an issue with dairy, especially raw dairy that's not processed, right? And I know for me, that phlegm was not from dairy because I have stayed on dairy the whole time. That's one thing I've not cut out at all. And my phlegm is completely gone. That mucus, having to clear my throat all the time, probably caused by inflammation, it's gone. I don't have that problem anymore. The last thing that has been significant that I have seen improvement on, which other than the panic attacks, this is probably the second biggest thing for me, is my stomach pain. You guys know I've been sharing with you since I got to Alaska. Actually, right before we left for Alaska is when I started seeing the doctor about my stomach pain. I have had this dull, aching burn in the center of my stomach, like your breadbasket area, like right in between my breastbone, right above my stomach. And the only way I've been able to describe it is like if you took a hot poker from the fireplace and you sat it in there, obviously not like right from the fireplace, right? Because that would kill me, but just a hot searing pain. And all the doctors chalked it up to acid reflux for the last 2 or 3 years, tried putting me on proton pump inhibitors, acid blockers, all the things. You guys know the story. I've told you about it. It was debilitating at times. There'd be times we were hauling firewood and I would have to sit down and just watch Joe work because the pain was like, oh, it just would take my breath away. Pain, undescribed pain. Had 2 endoscopies, couldn't figure out what was wrong, couldn't figure out what it was from. That is gone. It's gone. In 2 months, I had one day where I felt a little bit of it, and I actually took a shot of apple cider vinegar, and that is the only stomach pain I've had since, it's the first week of August. I started all of this the beginning of June, like gluten-free diet, carnivore, my herbs, and again, I don't know exactly what it is. It could be a combination of everything all at once. I haven't had that pain once, you guys. Was it the gluten? You know, was it inflammation in my gut? The inflammation can cause significant pain. We don't realize that. And when you have inflammation, something's causing the inflammation, whether it's your diet, an allergy, your immune system fighting something is causing the inflammation. I just haven't had stomach pain in like 2.5 months. And it could also be inflammation from the Lyme bacteria. The Lyme bacteria goes into the body and gets into all of your systems. I've shared that with you guys before. It can get into your heart and cause Lyme carditis. It can get into your lungs and cause breathing problems. It can get into your brain and cause neurological problems in your muscles, your organs. It could have just been inflammation from the Lyme. And maybe the herbs are treating that. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it was a carnivore and cleaning up my diet so drastically. All I know is I don't have that pain anymore. Knock on Chinese wood. I don't want it to come back. So I think that eating clean sucks because we don't want to give up the things that we like, even if they're bad for us, right? Eating clean sucks because we don't like being the weird one at the restaurant and having all the waitresses looking at you like you're crazy because she's like, oh, they cook steak in margarine. I'm like, oh, can you ask them to cook that in real butter? And I've had them look at me and they're like, real butter, what's that? Right? It's like, no, I don't want margarine. I don't want fake butter that's full of seed oils that's going to cause more inflammation in my body. Like, I want butter from the cow's teat. You know what I'm saying? So it sucks to eat clean because of those reasons. But when you experience the joy of being pain-free and having mental clarity and energy back and just a new hope on life, it doesn't suck anymore. In fact, you'll want to do it. And you'll be okay with being the weird one. So that's my update, you guys. I know I rambled, so I'm going to cut it off here or else I'll just keep going. But I don't think I left anything out. If you guys have any questions, just leave them down below. You guys know I do my best to answer them. We're doing good though. We're on the journey to still uncover some of the issues for Joe and Parker. And hopefully Lexi, because Lexi been suffering from a lot of medical issues too, and she's not getting help from her doctors. So it's potentially tick related as well, but we're doing good. And I would encourage you to go down the rabbit hole, right? Sometimes it can be overwhelming when we're thinking of all the stuff, and it's just easier just to keep doing what we're doing, because you can watch one video and then it goes into another video and then this study and then this study and then so-and-so said this. You guys, we have to be okay with living in the rabbit hole, because we can't keep turning a blind eye to the food that we're eating and the things that we're doing in our lives that's causing us to be sick. I want to be able to run around the yard with my grandkids. I don't want to not feel good. So it's worth living in the rabbit hole and researching and cutting things out and cleaning things up so you can feel better. So, all right, guys, that's my update. We'll see you guys soon. Let me know what you think of my little podcast area. I haven't decided exactly my angle, if I'm going to be at this angle here. I've got this shut because lighting from the side's not good for videos. So I have these cute little curtains and, you know, my little Life with Tina sign. So keep an eye out for that. I created the channel. Haven't started videos yet, but that's coming soon. Let me know in the comments if you guys are excited. Give me some encouragement there, because obviously that's another commitment. That's going to be one video a week that I'll put up over on the podcast channel. But if you guys want to hang out with me over there and have coffee, let me know. All right, guys, we love you. Stay blessed, and we will see you very soon on the next video.